Welcome back to Round of the Bases Extra Innings. Joel Goldberg, Todd Miller. We're laughing here because his parting shot on the audio version of the podcast was to promote his Cardinals, full well knowing that I cover the Kansas City Royals. So I highly recommend that you listen to the audio of that podcast. If you want to skip the last 3 seconds, go for it. No, it's all good. We learned so much from you about security and safety and so many of the challenges facing the healthcare world and everyone for that matter too. I want to go back as we round the bases here. The first of my questions: how much, if at all, do you miss the previous world that you had in terms of police and FBI?
Oh man, I miss the people first. I mean, you kind of have battle buddies that you go in and day out. Shout out to Squad 5, St. Louis FBI Task Force. I think for me, it was again, we mentioned it in the audio version, just the idea that you never knew what you were going to get into that day. You had an idea, but all of a sudden it takes a left turn, and now whatever you thought was going to happen, you take those plans, you just throw them right in the dumpster, and you're going off in this kind of new adventure. So I miss the unknown that would come from just going to work every day. I do miss the adrenaline rush of maybe driving a little faster than the speed limit after somebody, or following a car, or doing a deal. There is a rush that comes with it, and there is a little bit of that excitement, especially when it's all said and done. You have a successful case, you have a successful bust. There is a definite feeling of accomplishment. Again, you did something good for the community, and just that team culture of celebrating some of those things, and when you all come out of it safely, obviously. But I miss that. Miss the guys and gals that we worked with that were just awesome, still out there doing it today.
All right, second question is around the bases. I was looking at the number of awards that you have earned over the course of your career, and the one that really stood out to me, it paints a picture. I was back in St. Louis at this point too. We were both young guys then. 2005 St. Louis Metro Police Department Best Physical Fitness Award.
Yeah. So when you're in the academy, you kind of have your PT days, and you have the academy physical fitness instructor out there just turning you from what you were into a machine to be able to run fast, jump high type thing. So for me, it was awesome to go from being in a band, where I would say a little more sedentary, riding in a van for 5-6 hours a day, eating most of your meals off the dollar menu of Taco Bell, and then all of a sudden that complete 180 to all of a sudden we're going to start doing wind sprints, and we're doing CrossFit. You're doing all these things to tone up, and I took to it. I love it. I love sports, and it was one of those things where I was like, I want to be able to run 1.5 miles faster than anybody. I want to be able to complete the obstacle course faster and do all those things. And so at the end of my 7 months in the academy, somehow I edged out the top physical fitness. I'd like to say I still have some of those skills, but let's just say those have subsided with age a little bit.
Yeah, I said we were both young. You might still be young. I don't know, but I don't know that any of us can do today what we did in 2005. We'll put it that way, right?
Yeah, fair.
All right, third question as we round the bases. You had so many interesting steps along the way that obviously shaped who you are and what you do today. I'm curious what it was like to be a member of a gang task force, and having top secret clearance from the FBI and all that type of stuff too, because again, this falls under the category of what I think 99% or whatever the number is of people will never really have an understanding of. Wondering how that kind of shaped you.
I would say what it gave me was, and I don't mean to, I'm not trying to strike fear in the hearts of anybody. We have law enforcement out there making it safe for us to do whatever we need to do. We all know where high risk and low risk is in our areas. We know what to do and not to do for the most part, and being situation aware. I think what it taught me the most was that there was this kind of network of things happening outside society, whether it's drug dealers, human trafficking, all these things that are out there. They try not to make a splash. They don't want to be known. They don't want to be seen. And they operate on that in the shadows to the point of success.
Mm.
And for me, that was enlightening to understand this isn't just a little St. Louis thing. It's not a regional thing. This is a national thing or global thing. I mean, half the cases we had ties back to a cartel down the line. And you go, this is a global issue, and they're operating successfully under us. So how do you break into that? And just having some of that clearance to understand what's going on out there was not only interesting and intriguing. I wish it didn't exist. I wish we didn't have to have a task force and all that. But there was that. It was just so interesting of what is happening in the underbelly of society that these agents, these officers are out there doing every day to prevent that disruption from coming up or bubbling up into society to harm what's going on in just normal life for the average citizen.
I mean, there are a lot of things that we just shouldn't know. There are a lot of things that we need to know. That's so basic, right? But I mean, I think that we can so often in our own little bubbles feel a little too secure or a little too comfortable. But again, everybody go back and listen to the audio version of the podcast and you'll get a better feel for all this. We'll wrap it up, the walk-off question, with just how much, and I asked you a little bit of this in terms of getting on stage and speaking and the gratification you get from that, and you know that teaching piece that you've always had in you too. But how much do you love this sort of second career or third career now, and the impact that you're able to have, not just from the speaking, but to have you talked, Todd, about teams, to be able to work with so many people in so many places all across the country and to be able to help and impact their lives?
Yeah, I love it. It's a passion, and it's awesome to have a passion that can dovetail in what your professional life is. The idea that every time I'm out there and I'm speaking out of my hobby, we'll say, and I meet 5, 10 other healthcare security directors, and we have that conversation after the event, or at a happy hour, or sitting down eating lunch together, or wherever it is, and you're passing business cards with the intent of, again, we're all in this together. And so for me to have those two things dovetail is invaluable. And that idea that I also get my fix to teach, I get my fix to have that adrenaline rush of being out there on stage and talking with others and just feeling that energy. I'm blessed in more ways than one. And it's always awesome to come back and say, you know, after I was doing an engagement, coming back and saying, hey, to my team, these are 3 things that I learned from somebody in Chicago or somebody in Boston or wherever it is. And going, this is what they're doing and it's working. So it's like a constant stream of information to improve our own organization. Yet at the same time, I'm getting my fix. I'm too lucky right now. I'm too lucky.
It's a great place to be able to have a passion for what you do, to be able to make an impact, and to be able to love your job. Not everybody is so fortunate. I am, and so I can certainly relate. I wish and would love to see everybody be able to experience the same things in whatever they do. But really enjoyed this. Again, everybody check out the audio version of the podcast. And Todd, continued success, safe travels, and really appreciate you doing
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Joel. It's my pleasure.